So the easiest, dumbest thing that I could possibly think was do a real estate deal because you get so many tax write-offs. It's a good way to basically make money, get tax write-offs, all of that.
So tell me about those capital gains tax that you had.
It was just an old family legacy investment of ours in a trust. Obviously, when you sell it and the family's going in all their various ways, everybody wants to cash out, take the money. It was like 2 generations in the making. For us, for me at least, it was a nice, at that time it felt like a nice chunk of change. But one thing I knew for sure was that, it's like, every high incomer can probably relate to this. You look at your gross, you feel kind of nice about it. Then you look at your net and you feel kind of depressed about it, right? It was the same way as I looked at the gain. I was like, okay, that's a nice amount of money. I'm not going to say no to it, right? But then once I pay all, because we had practically no basis in the deal left. And what is my share going to be? What is the net going to be? And it was significantly less, right? And I was like, well, need to find some sort of solution for this. So the easiest, dumbest thing that I could possibly think was do a real estate deal because you get so many tax write-offs. It's a good way to basically make money, get tax write-offs, all of that. So that's kind of how I started, right? And initially the idea was, hey, should I look at retail, hospitality, office, multifamily? And just through the process of elimination, I got to multifamily. It was like hospitality is it's very cyclical. So kind of wasn't feeling that, right? Retail is whatever you want to call it, is going through a bit of a slump in terms of retail real estate, not the actual businesses on top. Office was A, very computationally intensive, and B, again, I think it was very lumpy in the sense that one tenant leaves, there's just a lot of stuff to do, right? Your risk management is a bigger issue in office space. So that basically left multifamily, because what I didn't want to do was get into, say, a vertical where, you buy smaller properties, right? Not that I'm buying really big properties, right? Guys do like way more volume than I do, right? But what I didn't want to do was buy 2 or 3 houses, because that wasn't really going to solve our problem. And thankfully, by the grace of God, we were making enough money even at the start of our careers that cash flowing, say, an additional $100, $200 a month, or buying a house and the associated all the work with it, that wasn't a very enticing thing, at least for us.
Yeah, absolutely. And that makes perfect sense, right? Like,
so a lot of this is process of elimination, right? As opposed to having like the big idea. It's like the big idea is to like be efficient on taxes and make money. But then process of elimination wise, it's like, I don't know, people did SATs back in the day, right? A lot of times you don't know the answer. You kind of triangulate that answer, right? Yeah. Kind of the same thing.
Yeah, and that makes perfect sense. And I love what you said there. It's like you got really, excited about the gross and depressed about the net, because it's absolutely true. And it's not what you make; it's what you keep.
It's 100%. It's what you keep. Doesn't even matter what you make.
It doesn't matter. And I try to explain that, and we've kind of coined this new phrase, tax flow versus cash flow, because at some point, right, like the taxes are going to eat into your profits so much, it makes the asset not worth as much.
Yeah, right? It's not even that. Like, it's so funny, like, because again, a lot of people in our social circle are either, say, guys like my social circle, investment bankers, private equity guys. Wife is a physician, so a lot of her friends are all doctors, right? And so these are all people making over $500,000 a year. And on average, even people that live in low or no state income tax states, right, they're easily paying a couple $100,000 in taxes, right, per person, right? So there's the couple of, say, both doctors or finance and doctor, right? They're easily paying a couple $100,000 in taxes. And simply what I tell them is, look, forget about making more money. Forget about that for the time being. If you were to just take the pile of taxes that you are paying right now, and you were able to figure out, say, some sort of solution to either get optimized on it, reduce your taxes by half. So if you're paying, say, $200,000 in taxes, you optimize it, maybe you cut your tax bill in half, making the same amount of money, right? That's an extra $100,000 a year, right? Yeah. That's a lot of money, man, because look, think about it. Most people, what are their big responsibilities? Kids' education, maybe a wedding, financial security, maybe taking a family vacation, all of that sort of stuff, just the usual stuff, right? And $100,000 extra per year on top of whatever you're doing. Let's put it this way. If your kid wanted to go to a private college and you started even 10 years before the kid has to go to college, you got an extra $100,000 a year, you can cause a lot of damage, man, to that goal without sacrificing anything in your personal life or anything of the sort.
Yeah, it's just about allocating your resources correctly and structuring
100%.
Like, yeah. It's a lot of people don't get it. I was having this conversation with my Well, man, he's got a service-based business, brings in $1.5 million a year. He's got 0 bases. He's got 0 write-offs. I'm like, Pop, buy a building, buy something.
Something,
Something. Do something. Stop writing $500,000 checks to the government. Like, what are you doing?